They called him the god of football, the architect who bent space and time to his will. 6 Premier League titles, a treble, Pep Guardiola, his genius absolute, his control total.
Can he tuck it in? You bet he can! City 3, United 0. Haaland's run from half-one.
But for over a decade, a single dissenting voice cut through the worship. A voice that saw not genius, but a dangerous compulsion. José Mourinho looked at Pep's relentless tactical evolution, his ceaseless tinkering, and didn't see progress. He saw obsession. Mourinho didn't just claim Pep was flawed, he claimed his genius was his curse, that the constant pursuit of a mythical, unbeatable system would, in the end, devour the very soul of the team. We dismissed it as jealousy, but now, in the 25-26 season, as the system fractures under the strain of new talent and injury, we are forced to ask, was the old enemy truly right all along? This is the story of how Pep Guardiola's greatest strength, his insatiable hunger for the next tactical frontier, became the silent weapon that threatens to dismantle his own dynasty. The animosity between Pep Guardiola and José Mourinho is not personal, it is philosophical. It's the eternal battle between the purist and the pragmatist. Pep Guardiola was born into royalty. As a player, he was the deep-lying playmaker, the heartbeat of Johan Cruyff's dream team, winning the European Cup. His education was about control, positional play, and elegance. José Mourinho's playing career was the opposite, brief and unremarkable. His managerial education began on the sidelines, as a translator and assistant. He was the outcast who had to fight, scheme, and win ugly to be taken seriously. His philosophy was forged in steel, chaos, and winning at all costs. The feud peaked during the El Clasico years, 2010 to 2012, when their philosophies clashed on the field and exploded off it. Mourinho's critique of Pep's purity. Mourinho branded Guardiola's possession-based tiki-taka as an overly idealistic, risk-averse system, famously arguing that teams that renounce possession are thereby stronger. He sought to exploit the fundamental weakness of Pep's relentless search for control, the minute gap that appears in transition. Pep's scorn for Mourinho's pragmatism. Guardiola often reacted with fury to Mourinho's low block, counter-attacking tactics, seeing them as a betrayal of football's artistry. After a bitter Champions League semi-final, Pep famously snapped, demanding of the referees and authorities, why? Why does a team as good as they are need something extra that is so obvious that everyone sees it? He saw Mourinho's methods as cynical. This was not just football, it was a battle for the soul of the sport. And Mourinho's tactical prophecy was simple: the purist will eventually collapse under the weight of his own principles. Mourinho's criticism of Guardiola has always been rooted in the philosophical clash between the purist, Pep, and the pragmatist, Mourinho. 1. Criticism of tactical idealism and obsession. Mourinho has consistently argued that Guardiola's pursuit of perfect possession football is an obsessive weakness that neglects defensive risk. The unbeatable system flaw. Mourinho argued that Pep's drive for constant innovation and perfection would lead to player burnout and instability. He implicitly suggested that this obsession will eventually kill the team's mental capacity. Dying with your idea. Mourinho stated in a general criticism of managers who refuse to adapt. Some coaches fail and say, "I died with my idea." But if you die with your idea, you're a fool. Coaches must adapt their ideas to their resources. This is seen as a direct prediction that Pep's rigid philosophy would cause failure when circumstances, like injuries or a lack of specific players, changed. The no-goals future. Mourinho sarcastically predicted a future of football where the pitch is just a beautiful green grass carpet without goals. In that beautiful grass pitch, the team with more ball possession wins the game.
The future of football is a beautiful green grass carpet without goals.
This ridiculed the tiki-taka era for prioritizing possession over the fundamental objective of scoring. 2. Predictions on defensive weakness, the counter-attack. Mourinho's most effective tactical prediction was that Guardiola's highly advanced system would be tragically vulnerable to rapid vertical counterattacks. Exploiting transition. He built his entire game plan for Inter Milan and Real Madrid on the idea that Pep's focus on attacking structure left a crucial, exploitable gap when the ball was lost. Mourinho was the master of pouncing on that vulnerability in transition. The goalkeeper warning, July 2025. Very recently, Mourinho criticized Pep's demand for goalkeepers who play out from the back, stating, "Playing from the back with a wooden goalkeeper is complicated. I remember Guardiola had Hart, the best English goalkeeper, but he wanted Claudio Bravo, but that wasn't enough, so he signed Edison." This prediction highlights the obsessive need for specific tools, a technically gifted keeper, to make the complex system work, and that failure to have those tools would expose the team. 3. Personal financial jibes, the clean win. The rivalry has always had a personal edge, with Mourinho often questioning the morality of Pep's triumphs. Win fairly and cleanly. In December 2024, Mourinho hit back at Guardiola after Pep joked about having 6 league titles to Mourinho's 3. Mourinho stated, "I want to win, but I want to win cleanly and fairly. If I can't win cleanly, I'd rather lose." This was a clear jibe referencing the financial fair play charges against Manchester City.
I hope not in my case. At the end, we were quite similar like Jose. But he won 3, I won 6. But it's the same, so we are together.
The effing boss. Guardiola himself once reacted to Mourinho's constant psychological attacks during the El Clasico years by stating in a press conference, "In this room, Mourinho is the effing boss, the effing master, and I don't want to compete with him for a moment." As of December 2025, José Mourinho is the head coach of SL Benfica in Portugal. Appointment. He was appointed in September 2025 after a brief and turbulent spell with Fenerbahce in Turkey, making a sensational return to the club where he first began his senior managerial career in 2000. The contract. He signed a deal until the summer of 2027. Context. His return to Benfica was triggered by the club's poor performance and subsequent sacking of their previous manager. Mourinho is tasked with stabilizing the team and challenging for the Liga Portugal title, marking a highly visible return to European competition, including an immediate Champions League meeting with his former club, Chelsea. Guardiola's machine peaked in the treble year of 23-24, defined by the Stones box pivot, a system of numerical superiority. But for Pep, perfection is a fleeting moment. His constant reinvention, his obsession, became a human burden on the players, the pressure cooker reaching a devastating point this season during the cruelest of absences, the long-term injury to Rodri and subsequent injuries to key figures. The system's foundations were ripped out. With Rodri silenced, the team had to accelerate its evolution, forcing raw, untested talent to instantly master the most complex system in world football. Pep, unwilling to simplify, demanded that instinct be replaced by instantaneous, perfect execution. This was the moment Mourinho's prophecy that Pep's ideas would fail without the perfect conditions became physical reality. The data confirms Mourinho's whisper. City has more possession than ever, but they are conceding nearly double the goals in the first half of the 25-26 season. The machine is dominating the ball, but it is brittle in transition, exactly the weakness Mourinho has always exploited. The engine room, baptism by fire. The most compelling story of the season is how Guardiola is attempting to maintain the impossible tempo by forging diamonds out of young, raw talent. Thierry Reinders, the unwilling anchor. Reinders has been thrust into the deepest midfield role to replace Rodri, tasked with being the defensive anchor and the initial press breaker, a complete reversal of his natural game. His technical quality is strained by the overwhelming defensive responsibility. Ryan Cherki and Savio, the fluid link. Young creative forces like Cherki are constantly rotated between a central attacking role and a narrow inside forward. The midfield's lack of continuity is shocking. City has yet to name an unchanged central midfield unit this season. Jeremy Doku, the chaos agent. Doku is the chaos agent, the one player given license to focus purely on beating his man and maintaining high width, providing the release valve when the central midfield is too congested. Erling Haaland, the isolated weapon. While still lethal, Haaland is often the recipient of hopeful crosses rather than intricate ground combinations. When the midfield is struggling, as they are without a constant Rodri presence, the link between midfield and Haaland breaks down, leading to the isolation that allows defenders to easily anticipate and contain him. The fullback experiment. Pep continues to use the fullbacks in a complex manner, either inverting them centrally, like Rico Lewis, or pushing them high to create attacking width, like Ryan Ait-Nouri or Mateus Nunes. However, when the new midfield loses the ball, these advanced fullbacks are too slow to recover their defensive shape, leaving the centre-backs exposed to the rapid, vertical counterattacks that Mourinho advocated. The statistics confirm the fatal flaw. City has more possession than ever, but they are conceding nearly double the goals this season. The control mechanism works, but the team is brittle in transition, the exact vulnerability Mourinho has always exploited. The system's complexity is mentally exhausting the new personnel, leading to positional instability that exposes the defense. The stressed defenders and instability of personnel. The pressure is transferred directly to the back line. Ruben Dias, the defensive leader, is forced to coach the entire structure while compensating for the midfield gaps. His spike in aggressive challenges reflects the emotional toll of constantly putting out fires created by the hyper-advanced tactics. The high line trap. Pep is still running a dangerously high defensive line, but when the new midfielders fail to win the ball back, that high line becomes a catastrophic risk, leading to the surge in conceded counterattacks. Mourinho's critique applies perfectly here. Pep is demanding his new young players bypass the learning stage entirely. They are slow, hesitant, and tragically vulnerable to the most basic counterattack because they haven't had the time to build the shared ingrained muscle memory that defined the treble team. The season reached its true climax not in a stadium, but in the sterile confines of the training ground. Following a humiliating defensive lapse, Pep launched into a familiar, intense tactical lecture. But this time, the reaction was different. There was no defiance, no emotional argument, just exhaustion, a wall of silence. The players were visibly, mentally spent. The moment forced Pep to confront the paradox of his genius. The pursuit of the unbeatable system was breaking the very players required to run it. In a decisive match later in the season, the change was subtle but profound. The fullbacks inverted less. Rodri, even upon his return, was used more conservatively. It was a retreat, a return to more stable, reliable shapes. It was the first time Pep had prioritized stability over innovation, a tacit acceptance of a pragmatic truth that Mourinho had championed for a decade. The 25-26 season proved that José Mourinho, the great cynic, was right about the flaw in Pep Guardiola's genius. His tactical obsession, his beautiful cruelty, eventually stressed the limits of his players and overburdened his new talent. The future of Manchester City does not lie in a new, complex structure, but in the restoration of a simple truth. Structure breeds control, and predictability breeds confidence. They remain the team to beat, but they're no longer the untouchable god. They are mortal, flawed, and finally, they've learned where the line must be drawn. Mourinho's prophecy, once dismissed as bitter jealousy, now stands as a profound truth. But now we turn the question to you. Has Pep Guardiola finally learned his lesson, or will the curse of innovation return next season? Let us know in the comments below. Do you think this latest iteration of the Manchester City team is still the best in Europe, or has the rest of the league finally caught up? Tell us which manager, Mourinho, Klopp, or company, provided the most accurate blueprint for beating Pep. If you want to dive deeper into tactical history, watch the video we made about Man City. And if you don't want to miss our next massive breakdown, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications.